Today, we're covering the brand new Xbox console, crazy card trick shots, Joe Rogan's Quake Addiction, Mortal Kombat, Tomb Raider, Paper Mario, and so much more. This is FTW, episode 13. Yeah? 13. Welcome back to FTW, the greatest video game podcast in the world. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. If you enjoy the show, do us a massive favor. If you haven't already, give this episode a thumbs up on YouTube and let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment. The best comment, we're going to feature it. If you have Spotify, hop on there and give FTW a 5-star rating. All these things help us out a ton. Last but not least, if you want more FTW during the week, you can find us on Instagram and TikTok. We'll throw the links in the description. Now let's talk about everything going on in video games this week. Buckle up, people. It's a spicy one. Massive week. In the ongoing FTC case, Microsoft accidentally drops the biggest leaks in Xbox history. The judge ordered the FTC and Microsoft to provide the court with a secure cloud link to trial exhibits with redactions that met the court's recent orders. Microsoft provided a link on September 14th, and the court uploaded the exhibits from there. But it turns out Microsoft gave them a link which had tons of confidential information. The new Xbox Series X design looks like more circular than the existing console and will ship without a disk drive. That was one thing that was leaked. 2 terabytes of storage on the all-new Xbox Series S refresh that has more storage, faster Wi-Fi. There's an Xbox handheld that there's a couple picture of. Oblivion and Fallout 3 remakes/remasters were leaked, and tons and tons and tons and tons of other stuff. We could literally fill a 2-hour block with how much was leaked. It was the roadmap from now to 2030 that Xbox has. It was leaked. Now, Xbox head Phil Spencer commented on the leaks, and he tweeted out, he X'd out, "We've seen the conversation around old emails and documents. It is hard to see our team's work shared in this way because so much has changed, and there's so much to be excited about right now. And in the future, we will share the real plans when we are ready." Now, before I throw it over to you guys, I think that, yes, a lot will change in this, and I think this was maybe more of a proposed plan because at the very end of it, it says basically, meet with Phil and run all these things by him. So by no means is it a set-in-stone 2030 plan, but you got to believe that a lot of this stuff holds some weight, and it's not just going to be like, oh yeah, this was nothing. Is this not the craziest time to be an Xbox fan, or what, Henry?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, the things like the new controller, right? That's probably happening, right? The Xbox Series X refresh, probably happening. I don't know why it's not a box. I don't like that.
It's an X cylinder.
No, it looks like the old Mac Pro garbage can.
It looked like either Mac Pro garbage can or it looked like a router. I've seen routers that look like that. Mm-hmm. Which, fair, the PS5 looks exactly like a router that's like the size of a desktop. So that makes sense. But like the stuff that's like more in the air, having a roadmap out to 2030 is... That's a long time to try to plan out and have things that hit on the market, because you're going to be reacting to the market more than you can plan out for that sort of thing. So a lot of it probably true, probably happening right now. Some of it, don't hold my breath. Really cool to see though. These ideas.
Yeah, there's a few things that I don't think most of it is probably too far off, but there's a few things. On one page of the PDFs, there was a kind of a triangle chart, and it showed all of the projects that are like currently funded, what they're a layer of projects that are like almost funded, and then like a top layer that's like hasn't been funded, needs more detail, whatever. And so things like a Microsoft handheld, that to me seems kind of like a wish and probably a ways out. I also don't know if they just mean like a Steam Deck and having Xbox games playable like on a Steam Deck. One thing that kind of stood out to me that could be pretty interesting and fun is when talking about the Xbox refresh, they mentioned tying it with XDL, Xbox Design Labs. So the idea of like customizing your Xbox Series X.
That's really cool.
And going through the whole, Design Lab features, that will probably be like my next console purchase. One other thing too, Henry, get your opinion on is there's also a chart, like a timeline for like some decisions that needed to be made. And one of them was whether or not they were going to keep using the same chips in the Xbox or go with their own like proprietary chip like Apple does with like the M chips. I was curious what you thought like the pros and cons of doing that are.
Oh, well, you can just take a look at what happened with the Apple M1 switch. There was software that just didn't work. There's things that are designed around a totally different architecture, and so you can run into some compatibility issues. You can run into some development issues. It's hard to say exactly how it would all work out. I didn't look into that. You'd have to look into how similar the chips sets are to each other. Microsoft's got the funding. It's very surprising me they don't manufacture a lot more of their, hardware completely in-house.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how it would affect like backwards compatibility.
It could, it could definitely. It could, if it's because they use an emulator in there and on a different chipset, it's definitely a possibility that, the emulator mostly works with the new chip, but a few games will interact with the emulator different because now we're dealing with software emulation that's emulating hardware that's running software running on different hardware. It's it's a sandwich of sorts, and there's a lot of things that not a lot of gears that need to all be in sync with each other. So something going slightly off spec could definitely lead to some sort of backwards compatibility issues. It's definitely a possibility. How likely? I don't know.
They said, I think 2028 in the leaks is when they're projecting their next gen Xbox console to come out. What are the odds that that's a discless thing from the get-go? Like, it looks like they are moving towards, we're not doing any discs anymore.
It is 100%. I would put all my money down that the next Xbox revision, as far as like a full new
next
piece
gen
of hardware, not a revision, but a next generation platform, would definitely be completely digital distribution. I hate it, but it makes sense from a business standpoint. Because companies don't give a crap about game preservation. They just don't, because they could sell it again, and if they're not able to make money off it, they don't care. And from a business point, that makes sense. So I don't knock them for it. Don't like it, but I would say it's with complete certainty that the next full hardware version is going to be completely discless.
Well, I think it makes sense from a business standpoint, but then it also just makes sense for like the type and state that games are being released in today. They have to always be online. They always have to have a day one patch. So like even if you buy a disc and you try to play it offline, like it won't work most games. And so, I think for sure.
Do you remember when the Xbox One launched? It needed to be online. Like that was a thing. And I remember a lot of when I was working at Best Buy in like 2015, 2014, and I had customers are going, wait, what? I have to have like internet connection to even play this game, like because they're buying the new console. It was still relatively new at the time, and it's few and far between the amount of people that don't want to do that, but it's it still does alienate a small percentage, but yeah, every single game is that way now, and so it just makes sense.
For those wondering about the new controller that they're going to be releasing, it's supposed to be a mid-range controller. So it's better than a normal Xbox controller right here, just a standard one. But it's not as good as an Elite controller. So it won't be that. How much are Elite controllers now, the Elite 2? Like $200 or something crazy?
It's up there. It's like
$150.
It's around between 150 and like 170, I think. I don't remember exactly.
So they're hitting a medium price point, and I actually am really looking forward to that because while I like the Elite controller, I love the weight of it. There's so many things I do enjoy. I bought one once, and then I went back to regular controllers after mine broke, and so I
cannot play on a regular controller anymore.
You've been ruined.
They need to put a microphone on the controller so you can talk to it and say Xbox on.
Doesn't PS4 have that? They had a little, or is it a speaker? Just a speaker, maybe.
I think it's a speaker.
Speaker could technically work as a microphone. Just saying, it's the same thing.
Oh, well, there you go. A little more you know. COD streamer Strummy hit the craziest trick shot in Call of Duty history. What started as a joke with his friends eventually became reality after they started attempting it. The trick shot involves launching a boat off of a Hummer to catch it on the blades of a helicopter, then juggling the boat in the sky like a hacky sack to snipe someone out of an oncoming boat just before the chopper explodes. Many people are saying it is the craziest trick shot they've ever seen in Call of Duty ever. Have you guys seen this? Did you watch it?
He was on the boat?
Yeah, on the boat, which was on the chopper, bouncing.
Yeah.
The helicopter like moving to the side really quickly to catch him. Mm-hmm. That was probably like the most skillful thing in there, is maintaining control of the helicopter to catch the boat.
Yeah, and hitting that snipe is nuts. You got to get all of them working together. It's awesome. Joe Rogan confirms that he installed a T1 internet line in his house to play Quake. Well, on the Joe Rogan podcast, comedian Matt Rife asked Joe about an internet rumor, and Joe confirmed it. Joe goes on to talk about how much he loves Quake, how addicted he used to be, and even defends Quake esports when Matt struggles to see why people watch or how it's even impressive. Joe also mentions that he doesn't play Halo.
Come on, Joe.
Who knew?
I dreamed of having a T1 internet connection in junior high. It was just like, dude, that would be so awesome. Yeah. It's only like, what is it, 1.5 megabytes per second or something?
If we had a T1 connection now, we would be mad at it. Like,
yeah.
If your phone dropped it, said T1 instead of LTE in the corner, you'd be like, what is this?
I was more of an Unreal tournament. I know Quake and Unreal kind of get pitted against each other a little bit as kind of like the secondary to Doom, but
I have a funny story about Quake 3. I remember like I wanted it and I got it at Walmart, and like a few days later I really wanted to play. I didn't want to be in school. So like
shock.
I had my friend Carl during lunch drive me back to my house. Like And so instead of going to like fourth period, I skipped fourth, fifth, and sixth period. I just went home to play Quake. And then like I walk in and like I get on my computer and my mom comes downstairs and she's like, "Aren't you supposed to be at school?" And I'm like, "Aren't you supposed to be at work?" And so then she just like stops for a second and it's like, "All right, don't tell your dad." And like and like leaves. She like leaves the house to go someplace. Like, I don't know what she was doing playing hooky too, but like we just played. She was like, "I want to go to work. I'm gonna call and do other stuff."
Man.
Same day, I just decided, I was like, I don't feel like being at school. I want to go play Quake 3.
Well, as you know, David and I grew up not PC owners, but we had the first iMac, so we were always Apple. We had Apple computers growing up, and I had a demo of Unreal Tournament, and I just played against bots for hours and hours and hours and hours, and it literally never got bored.
I will say the Unreal Tournament 2003 headshot sound effect lives on still in like Counter-Strike servers.
I do remember getting Unreal Championship, just to round this off. I remember getting Unreal Championship on the original Xbox, and that was
the first game we tried to LAN.
Yeah, that's when I really got immersed in Unreal. I remember at some PC LAN centers playing it just a little bit, but Unreal Championship is when I got, like, that was right there with Halo for me for a long time, because you could play multiplayer online, and I loved the yellow gun that was lightning, and it was like a sniper almost, and it was just like, psh, psh, psh. That headshot.
Championship was a port of Unreal Tournament 2003, and so I had both, and I would bounce between like, do I feel like sitting at my computer desk or do I feel like playing with a controller? So I would like play Unreal Championship, and then sometimes if I had friends over, because they had split screen, I was like, "Yeah, let's play Unreal." Like, we don't have to lug your computer over here that can barely run the game like a potato, but it's I'm really mad that game still isn't like properly backwards compatible.
Yeah, I would love that.
Because if we could land that,
Ooh.
I would 100%.
Oh, I would do that.
Unreal Championship LAN.
Yeah, dude.
We should try and get a couple Xboxes and CRTs together and just get a couple copies. We could do it old school.
Yeah, dude. Unreal Tournament. Let's go.
The F-Zero game returns as a 99-player battle royale in F-Zero 99. Available exclusively for Nintendo Switch Online members, you can now duke it out in a 99-person death race. This was funny because literally as soon as we got done recording last week's episode, Nintendo Direct drops all their information about the new stuff they're doing, which is hilarious. What do you guys think about this? These kind of re-releasing of, or like releasing new games that are connected to old games that are a new way of doing it. I think this is cool, but I don't see how a game like this, it feels like it just has like a lifespan, and it's not a game that will like live on for a long time.
It does have a lifespan because Nintendo has done this for like the third time now, where it's gone after a few months. Like Mario had its battle royale and it's gone. I think Pac-Man 99 is like being removed like now too.
So it's not a game you can buy and play. It's a game that you just play on the cloud, and when it's gone, it's gone.
Right.
That's lame. I mean, I guess it makes a little bit of sense for a game like this specifically, but it's kind of weird too, because it's like, what if it's like this is your game, you know? You're like, oh, I love this game. I just want to keep playing this game. I don't know.
With the way Nintendo locks things down, and then you have, this goes right into game preservation. Let's say 5 years from now, you're like, man, it sure would be cool to play, F-Zero 99. That was such a cool time. Realistically, if you had a hardware, you had a server at 99, switches that you could try to do this locally, you can't, because the game is not accessible any longer. The game will become lost media, and that's by design, and that drives me absolutely nuts.
Doesn't that happen with stuff you buy from like Amazon or Apple? Can it just disappear? Isn't it in their terms?
It definitely can, because Amazon got some hot water a few years ago about something like that, where people had purchased and it was in their library, and Amazon got rid of it, and so they no longer had it, and that's why piracy happens. It's these companies that want to combat piracy, they don't do anything to actually
incentivize people to buy things.
It's why I buy physical media and pirate things, because both of you have access to my Plex server. You know what I got running, so I buy physical media, I rip my own, and then if I can't do that, I will pirate it to keep a copy myself, because we're reaching a point where we won't own anything,
and we'll be happy.
You will eat the bugs and own nothing.
Ninja announces a new gaming podcast, FTK with Ninja, as well as a collab with Vivior. The new podcast offers stories from Ninja's life as well as celebrity interviews. And the Vivior Ninja Labs collab is they're developing a platform that rewards you for healthy gaming habits. Now, I've listened to some of Ninja's podcasts. It's actually pretty good, because he is a Halo guy. But this app, they haven't said what it is, but I'm assuming it's an app that they're developing. The tagline is "Life is an RPG," and the whole idea behind it is actually kind of interesting, because it's just all about, it's like for gamers to try and help them be healthier and not sit in front of a screen for 8 hours. He talked about it, and he specifically referenced long sessions, long gaming sessions. And so I think it'll be a thing where, you have an app set up and it will be like, hey, go take 5 minutes, do this, or and just give you different rewards if you watch the promo trailer for doing different things to kind of keep you healthy. And that actually kind of piqued my interest a little bit. I'm not going to lie.
I think it's kind of ironic, somebody that built a career out of sitting down for hours at a time. That's my only it's I don't know, that's the person I want to hear that from. But at the same time, it's a good move.
Do we really need another podcast though? I mean, we got ours. What else?
True.
I mean,
everybody has a podcast.
We don't need any more podcasts.
No.
Ours should be the last one. No more podcasts after ours. That's it.
I want to hear it. I wonder, because you guys know that Allison knew Ninja before he was
Ninja
big.
Did
she
you
worked
knew
with
him
him
in the MLG days?
She knew him
or
before
was
that.
it
they worked together. I don't remember if it was if it was when she was working at Jamba Juice, or if she was working with him at a pasta restaurant.
Because where's he from? Is he from?
Yeah, the Chicago area.
Chi-Town.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Chi-Town, this week's sponsor is Tony's Little Italy Pizzeria in Placentia, California, the best Chicago deep dish in Southern California. 1978.
She can hear me. Noodles and Company in 2010.
Noodles and Company.
That's where they work together.
Nice.
I want Ninja on his podcast to talk about stories from Noodles and Company.
In 2010. Wouldn't that be great?
Tell us about your time at Noodles and Company, Ninja.
Noodles and Company.
The next Sims game will be free to play with paid DLC, Sims 5. During the latest Behind the Sims community update, EA shared the news that the next entry in the series would be free to play and without energy mechanics or a subscription.
Again,
Now-
you will owe nothing.
Yeah, you will not
Is it getting
own
a
the game.
physical release? Is it getting? I'm not playing if it's not getting a physical release.
I seriously doubt it will. Sims 4, as of October, I think, became free to play, and it wasn't before that. You know, you had to buy the deluxe version for whatever, $60, $70. But they're going with a new model, a new model, and releasing it for free, and then everything else is going to be DLC. But if it's free out of the gates, I might just jump in for, an hour and just see what's what. Try and see if the original
No.
codes,
No.
Rosebud, work.
You know
and see
that's
if
not
I can
gonna
get unlimited cash.
Yeah,
'Cause
no,
it's different
those
in every
days are
single game.
long gone.
Dang.
Yeah.
I loved the first Sims game. I mowed lawns all summer so that I could buy it for our iMac.
Whoa.
And I played it a ton. Loved everything about it. I found out what the highest paying career was, which
What
was
was
the
it?
business one. Was a business one. So I maxed out, like my charisma, maxed out everything, boom, 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 got promoted to the highest position, CEO, whatever it was. And I was like, all right, now I'm making like huge bucks. I can like get everything I want for my house, build like this a crazy house. And literally, I had that job, that position for like 3 or 4 in-game days. And then he comes home. There's a message that pops up and it's like, oh, he wants a change of scenery. He's decided to become a firefighter. And like started me halfway down the career track of a different career. And I got so upset that like that's the last I ever played The Sims. I was so annoyed and upset that they just like changed the
that's-
career of my Sims without my permission.
That was the first Sims was the first game I was really into developing my own mods for. And I remember there's a website called the 7 Deadly Sims, and it was a site where you just downloaded mods. I remember like I had arcade machines that like was funny because I could tell they reused the animation for like the stirring of the pot because there was like the joysticks. So like she just stirring the pot, but they had made
crazy.
and then I had like flat screen TVs with a GameCube, a Xbox, and a PS2. And I was like baller as crap back then. I was like, dude, and like it was just Rosebud cheats. I was hacking the game wide open. Things were like $1. It didn't matter. I was like,
Which plot of land specifically did you
Top.
get? Top, middle.
Top.
Always. It was the biggest one. It was the biggest one.
I remember thinking I was so smart when I got so tired of burglars breaking in and stealing stuff that I figured out that if you put a piece of wall on either side of the sidewalk at the edge of the map, put a burglar alarm on the wall, as soon as the burglar walks into your plot, it goes off and like the cops show up before they even get to your front door. And I was like, yes, like they're never going to steal anything again.
did you delete your mailbox? Do you
No.
remember it was like you don't have to pay bills if you just delete your mailbox.
That's
you would do the
crazy.
clip. I forget the whatever like the no clip cheat is to where you can like
that's
literally
awesome.
delete anything. And so I was like, yeah, just delete the mailbox.
That's
Or you
so
can't
fun.
find me. You can't send me a bill. And so I never had to do that.
All I'd ever do, and I don't know how John found this cheat code because I think it might have been early internet, close to pre-internet, early internet. But I remember he came home and he's like, "Hey, dude, if you type in Rosebud and hit enter, it'll give you $1,000." And it's like, "Dude, that's amazing." And then after you type in Rosebud, if you type in colon, semicolon, colon, semicolon, colon, semicolon for every 2 that you do, you'll get like an additional whatever $1,000, $5,000. And so we would just do that, copy paste it, and then get like $500,000, and then I would just go and start building my house and doing things.
Yeah.
And then when I got bored, and I decked out my house, I would build a pool, throw the guy in it, delete the ladder, fast forward time, watch him die, and then probably just hop off at that point. That was like my Sims routine basically. But I just had more fun
yeah.
designing the house and building out a cool house more than
Like
anything.
I said, I never played the game. I think my guy was unemployed the entire time. I never played it correctly.
Yeah, me neither.
It's like I went in with Rosebud. I went in with
Yeah,
Rosebud.
that's crazy. We were playing it pretty correctly, and then we found Rosebud. You started at Rosebud.
Well, I credit The Sims too for getting me into Devo, because Mark Mothersbaugh did the soundtrack, and I remember just hearing the menu music and just like loving it, and like I was just like, who does this song? Like, where?
Yeah, the music's so good.
That's good.
Pokemon collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum opens later this month. The Pokemon Company has announced a new collaboration running at the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam from the 28th of September. More info is coming soon, but it looks like a Pokemon plus Van Gogh mashups, paintings are going to be on display. As someone who does collect some Pokemon cards on the side, mainly for the art and the nostalgia, and like so modern especially, it's just all about the cool art. I am excited about this, and I'm probably going to fly to Amsterdam. Just kidding, I'm not. But it looks cool.
Are they calling it Pokemon Go?
Maybe. Pokemon
I doubt it.
Go. The collaboration looks really cool. It looks like there's some cool things. It's basically a bunch of Pokemon painted in the style of Van Gogh. But I think that's cool.
Are they all like different variations of Miltank?
Imagine what
cool.
Pokemon would you want to see painted as Van Gogh?
Miltank.
All right. It's time for the 60-second soapbox. Who wants to go first?
Henry.
Game preservation, man. Like, I already went off about like game preservation earlier in this freaking podcast. It came up twice. Xbox got rid of its disc. We got Nintendo going, here's your stupid game you can play for 6 freaking months. No, F off with that crap, dude. Like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I pay money, real world Earth dollars. Give me the fucking thing. Like, don't like it. I don't like it. I never will like it. Like, I
There's
was okay
a license to play it, though.
I was okay with it because I've been a PC gamer for a long time. I was really fine with it when Steam was popping off. But like the thing with Steam was like, the files are there, and I could pirate the game anyway. So it wasn't the same. It wasn't nearly the same as something as locked down as Xbox or Nintendo.
John?
That's interesting. Interesting to think about because, with PC games, at least growing up, a lot of times they would come on a disc, but like you would install the game onto the computer, and the disc was like just to like make sure you owned it, kind of thing.
John? 60 seconds.
I'm married. I have a 3-year-old and a 5-month-old. I don't have a lot of time to play video games. So when I play them, I want them to, above all, be fun. I want the games to be fun. That's why I play them. I play them to enjoy them, to have a good time, to explore new worlds, to kill lots of things, all from the comfort of my chair in my office. That's all I want to do. And I'm sick and tired of games not being fun. I know that I can just not play them, and I hate that I know the answer to this, but why aren't developers making games that are just fun? Instead, they are making chores, work simulators, they're making things boring, and they're making you grind and grind and grind to just even advance to the next area. I spent 2 hours in Starfield. I didn't do a single thing. How come at the start of Skyrim, I'm under arrest, a dragon comes in, all of this stuff happens right at the beginning. Fallout 3 and 4, a nuke goes off right at the beginning of the game. That is cool. That is awesome. Starfield, I'm just like walking around, mining, doing work, chores collecting things, and then
You
I get
the
sent.
artifact, and then like.
And then I
Dude,
just get sent
No,
through
what are you
space.
talking about?
One of the most
Starfield.
one of the most cliche things ever. Oh, go through space and time and then wake up. I've seen that 1,000 times in every movie.
Pirates.
Everything.
Like, you get into this like otherworldly, like this has never been seen in this world before. Yeah, sure, it's a cliche. So's a nuke. So's a a fantasy game with a dragon. Wow, John, that's so original. Like I didn't think they have a dragon in a fantasy game.
Those are actually like cool and exciting things. Just having a brief 30, not even 30 seconds. It's like a 10-second cutscene, and you wake up.
You're supposed
like
to not know what
happened.
Like,
Nothing
that's the thing.
happened.
Yes, like you had a hallucination, and
so then I find myself just walking around this city, planet, just talking to people, and they're all like having a great time, and I'm just like, what am I doing? I'm picking up every single paper plate and plastic cup and succubi, and like selling it for a credit or two. I'm like, what is this game? It's driving me crazy.
Why are you doing that?
Haven't gone into it.
You never were told to do that. It never said pick up. You weren't the janitor. No one told you to be the janitor.
They have them in the game for a reason.
Yeah, for crafting later, not to just go to the freaking trade store and be like, how much for this paper plate succulent?
I picked up so many notebooks, and I'm like, well,
Why?
it's here. I guess
Stop!
I better pick it up.
Stop doing that. You're playing it wrong. Like, you're not supposed to just pick up every damn notebook. Like, that's not what it's there for.
So
like,
yeah, Starfield. I've gotten to the point where it's like, okay, I've played it for a few hours, and I'm clearly doing it totally wrong. So I'm gonna take what I learned in the first few hours, restart, and maybe it'll be smoother next time around.
Your reaction to playing Starfield is how I feel playing Skyrim. I was like, what the f is this game? Like,
some little chirps going on Twitter this week, and Henry, you may have seen this. I got into probably my first ever big Twitter beef, which is I commented. Someone said a YouTuber said, "Hey, should Halo 5 go to PC?" And I said, Halo 5, they're like, is it a good game? And I said, it's a great FPS and a terrible Halo game. And apparently that struck a chord with some people because they didn't understand what I meant by that. Someone said, I'll never understand that logic. Like, what on earth? It's actually very, very, very simple. Here's the deal. Halo games have a specific identity, set of design principles that make them a Halo game that's different to Quake or Counter-Strike. And we played Halo 5. I played a lot of it. It was really good. It was fantastic. It was a great FPS. However, it was not something like all the rest of the Halo games that Bungie made. It doesn't stick to the core principles that created the original Halo trilogy. And so all I was saying was, hey, it's a good FPS. And it is. It's smoother than Infinite. It's better polished than Infinite. It has the vehicles are better. There's so many things way better than Infinite ever.
There was content right.
Yeah, there was content right. Great FPS. But as Halo games go, it's a terrible Halo game, and it doesn't stick to the core fundamentals of what makes Halo great. That's it.
Yeah, no, it's the mechanics you have in that game, like the ability to hover, the ground pound, thrust, what else was there that you could just do?
Sliding.
I forgot about sliding. Yeah.
Yep.
Holding L to like pull in a scope.
Charge,
like,
Spartan charge, ground pound, sliding, thrusters, all of it.
All those were like, the game is a great FPS. Terrible campaign.
Yeah,
campaign
terrible.
is gutter trash.
Probably the worst Halo campaign by like
I would agree. Yeah, and the example I keep giving people is Counter-Strike, right? We were talking about Counter-Strike 2.0 or whatever, the new one that's coming out. And it's like, I remember playing CS in late or early 2000s, and yeah, the game looks different today. There's microtransactions and everything, but it has the same core principles at play in it. They haven't changed that stuff. And imagine if they came out with a new Counter-Strike, this new one, and they said, well, there's sprint now, and you can also clamber on things, and the movement speed has been changed. Yeah, like, everyone would say, that's not Counter-Strike. That's not Counter-Strike. We want Counter-Strike. That's not Counter-Strike. But for some reason, all of a sudden, when they do that to Halo, because that's exactly what happened, then all of a sudden they're like, no, it's still Halo. You just want the classic. You just don't like changing. And the biggest thing is, and Faven has broken this down a gazillion times, it's not about the fact that Halo shouldn't evolve, no pun intended. The problem lies in how 343 implemented changes is different than how Bungie implemented changes. When Bungie did things, they changed things in the sandbox to create different interactions and different things like, opportunities and stuff. When 343 makes changes, they make changes to the core base mechanics that are indefinitely there, like base player traits that are indefinitely there that change the whole game. And as a result, it changes how you design the game, because now you have to change the levels to accommodate for sprint and clamber and boosters and all this stuff. So it changes it completely. That's how they evolved the game. When Bungie evolved the game, because people say, oh, well, Halo 2 is so different than Halo 1. It's like, yeah, obviously, we know Halo 1, 2, and 3 are very different games, but at their core, they're not. They just adjusted and tweaked things, but the core principles of no sprint, like sandbox driven, all that stuff is exactly the same.
If you remember when Infinite came out, like one of the things that really pulled people back to it was the fact that like it was feeling like Halo had a return to form.
It was a return to the sandbox.
Like the sandbox, like it's like, yeah, you have sprint, but sprint is like barely faster than your normal running speed,
right?
Until you start getting to like jumping mechanics, but besides that, you could basically have, for the casual player, holding forward is almost as fast as like sprinting. And then like any kind of other equipment, it's like stuff you pick up, much like Halo 3 to that point. The control scheme was also more related to the original classics too. We weren't L wasn't, pulling up your ADS anymore. So like, 343 hears that. Right. And they attempted that with Infinite, and like I feel like I like Infinite. I think Infinite's a good game. I just don't like a lot of the crap they're doing with it. So I agree with you 100%. It's like, yeah, if freaking CS2 has sprint and ADS, people are like, this isn't Counter-Strike anymore. Right. It's
like cash in on the Counter-Strike name.
It's but here's your problem, David.
What's my
You're
problem?
On Twitter.
Don't dead name it. It's called X now.
It's you called it Twitter. Don't call me out on this. But there's your problem. Like, it's a cesspool of stupidity. Like,
Yep. Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door enhanced remake, coming to Switch next year. Announced at Nintendo Direct as the final reveal. This will be an upgraded version of the GameCube Classic and the best game in the Paper Mario series, some say. Originally released in 2004, it continues the paper origami style of the first N64 game, but with new abilities and expansive story. We don't have to stay long on this, but I quite remember liking the Paper Mario game, so I might dust off my Switch. Who knows?
The Paper Mario series is very interesting to me, mostly in its origins. Because, like, it's originally Super Mario RPG 2, and Super Mario RPG was like, Mario's in 3D for the first time. Because it was before Mario 64. And then when they're doing Mario RPG 2, they're like, make him paper. Like, the opposite of 3D. Like, the ironic juxtaposition there is, like, completely lost in this day and age. We just accept it, but, like, back in like the mid 90s, it was like, to me that was funny, even as like an 8-year-old going, we're making him paper now instead of 3D. Got it.
This is really exciting. The remastered original Tomb Raider trilogy was releasing on Switch next year. Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 Remastered will be released on the 14th of February next year. The packages includes authentic visual updates for each game and will include all DLC and secret levels. We used to have this. I was an iMac G3 gamer.
Wait, all DLC? It's there were PS1 games.
I think they mean like expansions. Like, I don't know.
That didn't exist.
Like an extra disc. I don't know. Maybe they're adding. I think they're adding
3,
to
probably.
it. But I remember playing this on the iMac G3 and it was amazing. Now, I will say,
it includes a couple of the top-down arcade games too.
I don't love remastered graphics. On the trailer, you see it, a classic slider, and it shows like old graphics to new graphics, and people are like, I don't like the, oh, thank God we don't have the pixelated whatever graphics, and I'm like, but I like those. That's what I want. I want them to be clearer.
I don't want a reimagining of like what Lara Croft looked like. Like you can take that model and properly scale it without it being a pixelated mess. You can redraw those textures on the walls without it being a pixelated mess. You don't have to like reimagine it. But like, here's the thing, and where I'm a little torn on this. The original Tomb Raider games had an absolutely atrocious control scheme. Absolutely terrible.
On what?
Everything, but
I don't remember it being that bad on computer. But
when was the last time you played it?
In like 5th grade
Decades.
or something. Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I used to play. I think it was the first Tomb Raider on our iMac, and when you're a kid like that, like you just do demented and disturbing things in video games. We're talking about The Sims. I've figured out how many different ways to kill my Sims, but I remember in the Tomb Raider game, I would always try to like get Lara to like the highest point and like do a flip off a cliff and have her land and die, because when she hit the ground, it did this like crazy, just like ragdoll flop animation, almost like the Family Guy falling and the arm goes like behind the back, and just like poof. And I just was like obsessed with that animation. And so I would just figure out how many different ways to jump her off a cliff just to die and see that animation.
Mortal Kombat 1's Switch port is getting absolutely torched by players. Players who opted for the Nintendo Switch version of Mortal Kombat 1 have reported very visible technical issues with the game, including inconsistent frame rates, long loading times, and expressionless faces. These pictures are absolutely atrocious. It looks so bad.
It's pretty nuts.
Imagine paying full price for this. 70. People are calling
that's the thing.
People are calling it robbery.
It's $70, the same price as the other versions of the game, and it looks like that. And it's not so much that like the Switch isn't capable. There's ways they could have done this game and had it look okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The Scorpion doesn't look too bad.
The Switch is also freaking 2017. That's when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
So 5 years old. It's due. It's time.
I'll offer another perspective. I'm kind of encouraged by this, and it's like refreshing to see just like something completely terrible. I feel like we've gotten to this point where like there's only like AAA huge blockbuster games or like little tiny indie games, and there aren't any of like the middle of the road just kind of trashy games that at least on console. PC there's millions of everything.
The problem is when you can buy it on Xbox and it's amazing, and then you pay the same price and it's trash. I'm with you 100%. but I would be pissed if I paid full price and I was a Mortal Kombat fan, and I'm like, this is like seriously a step back, and everyone else is playing a much better version. Diablo 4's Season 2 is going to be so big that it needs 4 hours of live streams to unpack. While Blizzard hasn't said when that's going to be, the developer is so confident in the amount of new content in Season of Blood that it plans to host 2 live streams that could each run for 2 hours. A couple of Blizzard developers confirmed this on X. It's exciting. I'm excited. Content is content.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been a little too good because I don't have time to play everything. So
Yeah.
I don't have time to spend 10 hours on Starfield before it gets fun.
It doesn't take that long, John. You just need to stop picking up. You are a scoundrel, not a janitor, and you need to treat the game that way. Just walking to every single office like, God, it's a pigsty in here. Picking up every damn thing.
Clean it up. Where's the wet wipes? I need to wipe this place down.
I just want the credits. I need credits.
You don't, dude. I barely sell crap in the game.
Dude,
and
I can't
like,
find
loaded.
health packs anywhere in that game. I'm low health.
Steal them.
all
What
the
are you
time.
guys doing?
Steal them from where?
Oh, the health packs on the wall?
Dude, I take them off the wall, but there's like one every like 6 hours in that game.
What are you doing to
there's a
need them
health-
so bad?
I'm fighting a lot. Civilians mostly.
Why? Well, there's your problem. You're just playing the game like it's GTA.
I
Yeah,
am.
you want to play Starfield and go.
It's
if you wanna
GTA
go
6 in space.
Oh,
You want to go act like you're a mass shooter? Yeah, you're gonna need a freaking health pack. You can just eat food. You know that, right?
Yeah, but that's like it's like 3 HP. I'm not looking for, a little HP, little.
Well, you get
there.
if you're like John, you just have like a backpack full of like snacky s'mores. Like doesn't matter what it is. Like
oh God.
go on your mass shooting spree and you just start eating like ton of like dehydrated veal. That's like one of the snacks you can have in the game. I've like carried 25 of those and get 12 HP.
We'll see you guys next week on the pod. Leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought of everything, and we'll see you soon. GG's.
GG's.
Dude, my Starfield character, like, I'm almost a master lockpicker. I'm at like level 3 on that. I'm just playing the game like if I had a spaceship, dude. That's all I'm doing.